3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Monday night edition of the Dennis and Andy Show. We are an hour later tonight because we like to accommodate our guests. That's how we are, right, Dennis? That's how we roll.
That's right. It is Monday, and it worked out really well because I literally just got off the lake, not even changing shirts. No really cool, funky shirt for y'all tonight. You get a plain old tank top. That's what I had at the gym this morning before I headed out. So, but I made it in time.
It's the gun show for Dennis. That's what I'm hearing.
It is the gun show.
It is the gun show.
We know it's Monday, and what do we do on Mondays? Oh, yeah, we always get a new guest. So, Andy, why don't you tell us who our guest tonight is?
Our guest is Phillip Diaz, the creator of Magic Cop. Currently, Magic Cop 2, White Lines, is in demand on Indiegogo. We want to talk to him about that. Look, our buddy Michael's already complaining. Let's get this show on the road. It's almost past Andy's bedtime. Oh, I thought it was past. I read it small thinking it was past his bedtime. My bedtime's not till 10. Shut your mouth. We'll be fine. I'll have an hour to decompress, and then I'll hit the sack. But without further ado, what's up, Phil?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man.
Man.
So excited to be here, and hail the chat.
Yeah, it's good to meet you. You know, we another creator that we chat on Twitter and stuff, and follow each other and whatnot. But we like to spotlight different creators' projects and just learn about them and whatnot. So, you know, before we dive into the comics you've put out and the current one, which is Magic Cop 2, what got you into comics? Like, what was it? What's your origin story? What was the book? Yeah, what's your origin story?
Yeah, so man, I grew up in the late 90s. I mean, I'm 27 years old. And
God.
So
hey, wait a second. Hold on. I love doing this to Dennis. Hey, Dennis, how old is your son?
My son is 25. Thanks, Andy. I feel freaking old.
Dennis, we're the same age. My kid's only 18 now. So
I know. I work quick.
Yeah. So I was born in 93. So my way into comics was different than a lot of people that I hang out with. You know, I mean, I've always hung out with older crowds, and you know, from my family's friends to, you know, I work in an arcade right now, and I have for like 10 years. The country's and the world's largest arcade. We have like the most games. So everybody there was from the old arcade scene in the 80s and 90s. So I get the culture, and that's what I love. And you guys will see that from the stuff that I put out, like Magic Cop. It's very 1980s. But, you know, I kind of through osmosis of like the 90s cartoons of like X-Men, and then the Justice League cartoons, which I love, you know, the Spider-Man animated series, awesome Batman animated series, that got me super excited about comics. You know, it was something my dad and my brother and I would sit down and watch on Saturday mornings. I'm a huge X-Men fan from the cartoons, like Gambit's my guy, you know. And so from that, we went to like conventions, like Wizard World Chicago was huge when I was younger. And that's probably where I bought my first comic. I think my brother had some. He had some Venom issues, and my dad collected some when he was younger. Like I remember, you know, he had like Silver Surfer versus Mephisto and stuff like that. Yeah. Just like those crazy issues back then, and like Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Black Widow issues when they would do those. But I think the first couple I remember picking up were old Plastic Man stuff, because I was a kid and I liked wacky characters like that. And I think the first issue of Alpha Flight, where it's just the big lineup, you know, and because I was a huge Sasquatch fan. I actually had a dog named Sasquatch, and he's just like this. I loved the character. He looked so cool. And those were super distinct in my mind of the first stuff picking up, you know. That's where the bug was, and through that, as getting older and more stuff was coming out, like I said, Justice League Unlimited with all those characters. I'm a big fan of like the D-list characters.
Dude, you and me both.
Yeah,
I totally can relate to that. Growing up, I mean, the characters when I was growing up were more C-list, and it was Green Lantern, it was Aquaman. I mean, they're A-list guys now, but back when I was a kid, there was a totally D-list guys. Like I loved Alpha Flight. They weren't an A team. You know?
For sure.
Sasquatch was my favorite out of all of them. I mean, and that's why to hear you say that, I'm like, yeah, that's just, I mean, burn.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but Dennis, you know, you mentioned you're a fan of the X-Men. Dennis is the big X-Men fan.
Yeah.
You can kind of see behind him, but I like to brag on Dennis because he has every issue of X-Men from number 1 in 1963 to current to today.
Wow.
Yeah,
everyone.
I'm an X-Men guy. I've got all the X Factor, New Mutants, X-Force, Fallen Angels. It doesn't matter. Got them. I'm an X guy. Even the crappy stuff they're putting out now, I'm reluctantly picking up just because I'm a completist. But now the one thing I love to hear you say, you're talking about arcade. So you would love this. So I'm from Wisconsin originally.
Yeah.
And where we grew up, the town, there was an awesome place called Fantasy Isle. Mm-hmm. And the downstairs was comic books. So you'd walk in and there was your comic book. So I'd walk in every day. But then you'd walk up, they had spiral staircase. And when you'd walk up, the top 2 floors were an arcade. So literally my mom would drive me into town, drop me off. I would go up and it was $5 for 2 hours. All you could play video games on Wednesdays. So they had pinball, they had all the great arcade games. Then I could walk right downstairs, pick up all my new comics, any back issues I wanted, one fell swoop, one-stop shop. She was there 3 hours later to pick me up. That was the greatest day of the week.
That's amazing, dude. Yeah, that's so cool that they would do it like hourly, like our arcade. It's just $20 and you get to play the whole day. From
no way.
No way.
From 11
What's the name of this joint? Because you said it's like the biggest or whatever?
Yeah, we have, I think as of today, probably like 820 games. We put a new game on the floor every week. So,
holy crap.
Wow. So, what's the name of it?
It's called the Galloping Ghost Arcade. It's in Brookfield, which is like 20 minutes from Chicago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we've been there for 10 years, and it's grown and grown. We got like any game you could think of, we probably have it, most likely. Yeah. But
Star Trek, the one where you sit down?
Yeah, sure. I think we have
I think it was 82 maybe, 83, 82, I'm thinking.
Yeah, we have that. We have the the X-Men of arcade game, of course, but we have the full 6-player one where it's the XL cabinet that it's got four monitors in it, so everybody could play at once. It's insane. But yeah, and so I guess to get back to comics, I had always my family was super supportive in the idea of imagination. You know, like my parents always encouraged me to be creative with imagination. You know, I did some theater stuff when I was younger as well, but I was the kid that was always just daydreaming and thinking of scenarios, whether it be like, I just watched the X-Men, you know, in my head, I'm just daydreaming about being Gambit or something and fighting in the Danger Room. So that was kind of like what started stories in my infatuation with stories and storytelling. And then in college, I took a mythology class, and I love mythology. And at one point I wanted to be a mythology professor, but just understanding what myths were and the stories and how comic books are like modern myths, just sparked the urge to write this stuff. And even like out of high school, my brother and I published small runs of like comics. You can see here, this is they're not even illustrated, they were pictures, they were photographs in front of a green screen of my friends and I, and this is the second issue of the Silhouette.
Cool.
Which is a vigilante character that it was our first character, so this is basically where Zaid Comics started, which is our company. And you could see like a little establishing shot here, the Silhouette, and this is all like photographs of real places, or my brother would 3D model them.
Wow.
And so like some cool CG explosions, and that's me as the Silhouette. We're just like blacked out. He's like this shadow man. And we went to Wizard World. We got, spent the $300 on a table and sold maybe 50 of these things. And
it's got a nice production value, man.
We tried, man. Yeah, I mean, this thing was printed in like a basement of some guy, some like local indie comic guy's basement who had invested in a huge printer. So, we did floppies. We did 2 issues. And from there, I went to college and always was writing about the Silhouette. And from him spanned different characters that we came up with. And then kind of, this took a while to produce, because you got to schedule when your buddies are going to come over and take pictures and do page layouts and stuff, and then letter the thing. I was lettering it at the time too. So kind of we stopped producing these because it took a lot of work, as any comic book does. And then I started seeing like the crowdfunding campaigns. And I remember seeing Cyberfrog really early on, and I'm like, dude, this looks awesome. Because frogs were my favorite animal when I was a kid. And I'm like, oh, dude, Cyberfrog's so cool. And then I'm like, but I've never used Indiegogo before. And I'm like, I won't pick it up because I've never done any of the crowdfunding stuff. I saw Brutus the Badass was another one that was pretty big. And then from there, I just saw, hashtag Comicsgate and stuff on Twitter. I didn't know what it was. And I probably saw a video or a clip of Ethan talking. And I'm like, oh, this seems really cool. Like the community seems awesome. And this is stuff that I agree with and what I want to do. And I'd always wanted to get back to the Silhouette and these crazy characters that we had come up with. So Brandon and I, my brother, were working at the arcade. We came up with, out of nowhere, usually our ideas come out of jokes. Like we're just joking around with each other and we think something's clever or funny and we're like, that's stupid. Why don't we do something with it, So that's where Magic Cop came from. It was an idea or a title for a video game that didn't exist. The story goes like my boss was asking my brother for a marquee, for an arcade marquee, and he's like, hey, what was the name of that? And my brother's like, it's like Magic Cop, and he's like, that's not a game. And then so we're like, what would that be if it was a game? So myself and my brother started creating characters for like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, like Bad Dudes, Teenage Ninja Turtles, games like that. And we built this whole world to make into a game on our own time, but we got thrown onto different projects and it never came to fruition. So I'm like, we have all this content and with these stories, why don't we make it into a comic book? Like it would be perfect. And if down the line, if we ever do a video game, that would be cool. But then that's where we came up with Magic Cop. So this was the first one. And we started promoting on YouTube. We made a channel. We did a bunch of shows. We became, people started noticing us and got followers. The cool back cover too by Passion for Drawing. And through here, this thing's like 92 pages. It's pretty thick. It's like 4 issues. So it's basically Miami Vice mixed with Halloween Town. The main character is a wizard detective he's a magic cop, and he comes from a long line of magic cops. And I guess the rest is history from there, because the group and community kind of brought us in with welcome arms, And from that, we met a bunch of awesome creators and artists, which led us to be able to do our second book. And now we're on our third one. So.
Oh, very cool.
That is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'm looking down. That's why I'm looking down, because I'm just looking down at another screen that has the campaigns and stuff.
Hey, Brian's
What's
here.
up, Brian?
Yeah, thanks for everybody for joining. I see we got Sim in the chat. Jay
Yeah.
Lee, not the actual Jay Lee. This is
Nope.
Sweens, my boy Sweens. Edwin
He's
the
just as cool.
Yeah. So
So who's older, you or your brother?
my brother's older by 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is just you two? Now I'm just curious. Or
Yeah,
no
just
other
us.
siblings, just you guys?
No, it's always been, it's just us.
Wow.
So
And it sounds like a lot of your interests are really aligned, which is actually really cool. Like my brother and I, we were completely opposites growing up.
Yeah.
Now he likes all the same nerdy stuff I do, which is great, but a little late.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
we've always been each other's, I guess, best friends, and we always hang out with each other and have the same friends that we hang out with. And whenever we do something, we do it together because we've been around each other so much. So
Sure.
we could always count on each other to get stuff done. And if I don't know how to do something, he definitely does. So that's
Sure.
the way it goes. Yeah.
Well, I've got Magic Cop right here. So
Yeah.
we can look at it and talk
Awesome.
about it. I'm going to play the video.
Oh, cool.
So let's do that.
Did you share the audio?
Yeah. I just got to click. Hold on. I'll start it over.
Perfect. It's kind of a good pitch video to tell you
Hey
what.
everyone, this is Brandon and Phil from Zane Comics, and we're back with our new sequel, Magic Cop 2.
So sit back and watch this trailer right now.
Magic Cop is everything you love about Halloween, smashed with everything you love about the 1980s. And in Magic Cop 2, all of our favorite detectives are back. Grey Wolf, the old-timer, Helly, the sexy witch, O'Hara, the half-leprechaun, half-giant, and Iggy, the magic cop. This time, there's a new drug on the streets of Ambrosia. This special strain of pixie dust is giving its abusers magical powers, and it's up to the team to find out who's concocting it before the whole city runs mad with magic. But that's not all. Whoever's behind this has painted a target on the backs of the police, leading into a run-in with the city's most wanted contract killer, the Headless Hitman. This book's got a whole lot of action, a whole lot of 80s, and of course, fast cars, hot beach babes, and even hotter crime. The only detective with the spells to stop it is Magic Cop.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
And remember, we can't do it without your help.
So hop on board. Let's go make some comics.
Nice.
Now with more Magic Cop.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys do the video yourself?
Yeah. I edited the little animatics and stuff for the video.
I just want to know, is it your car or his car that you used?
That's my brother's car. That's not his car.
Oh, that's a sweet ride.
Saved up for a while for that. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, I mean, you kind of went into the story. You want to go into the story a little more about Magic Cop and stuff?
Yeah. So in the first book, when we introduced all the characters, the Magic Cop, his name is Ignatius Cromwell, and Iggy for short. So the first one was his first case. They were taken on a case where mermaids were being trafficked into the city, given surgery to have human legs, and then prostituted out. So it's wacky. It's fun. It's like a very 1980s crime story, and that's why it's like when we were selling this, I didn't know how well it would do because it's not a superhero thing. It's not traditional comics. It actually reads and is written kind of like a TV show. There's no narration in it. You're kind of viewing it like you're watching a Miami Vice show. So that was the first one, and now in this second one, instead of going after people that are trafficking mermaids, they're taking on the drug world. So there's a new drug called pixie dust on the streets, and the junkies that snort it are getting magical powers. So that's not good for the city. Is not good for anyone. So they have to track down who's doing that. And if you scroll down, you'll see the big bad guy. His name is Arsenic Jones. And he's like Bane, but if
we could just stop right there.
Yeah, that's a good one too. There he is. This is Arsenic Jones. He's a bodybuilder. He's like Bane if Bane used magic instead of venom. So he uses magic as steroids, and he's running this racket. And he learned that these detectives are on his tail, so he hires the headless hitman to take him out. So there's a big chase scene with the headless hitman, and just wacky fun, man. And this is totally different than what we did with our last book, because the last book is much more, all about comics. Like if you love comics, then you'll love the Lost Pages. That's all about like superheroes and stuff. And this is, so I love writing stories in different genres, kind of working out my writing muscles in that way, so I can get used to writing different stuff.
How do you, that actually brings up a good question, because your brother draws the stuff and you write the stuff. So do you do the normal process of writing out a script to give to him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do that. And in fact, for the first book, I actually helped with the layouts too. So to speed things up. So I would lay out, boxes on a PSD file for him to follow. And that quickened things up. He's doing most of the layouts in this one himself now. But yeah, I'll give him a full script, and if there's spaces where I could leave leeway for like action scenes, like fight scenes that he wants to whip up himself, we do that. But we're always constantly talking with each other, whether bouncing ideas off of each other at the gym and stuff. And if I get into a hole, I'll ask him what he thinks. Here's the headless hitman popping a wheelie on his motorcycle. It's very wacky.
I mean, the whole the style of it and the colors and stuff. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, Don Johnson looking.
Yeah.
And that very pop colors of the 80s and stuff. And I love the dot patterns that are in there as well.
Yeah, dude, our colorist is killing it, man. He really brings everything to life. It turns it into a real comic once the colors are on there. Like you said, like the dots, the zip dots and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted that for the retro feel.
Totally.
So this is totally different. This is the ash can that is going to be, you guys could get with the book. It's going to be a 14-page short story. And then after that, there's going to be like back matter, concepts, and fan art as well. But this is focusing on our character Grey Wolf, who is like the old-timer veteran of the precinct. And this is kind of like a flashback story where he's going to seek revenge on this crime lord. He puts his shotgun down, picks up the samurai sword. So he kind of has like Steven Seagal feel to it, maybe like Game of Death, Enter the Dragon. And it's drawn by Alan Alonso, who is a artist who we found during our first fan art contest. He won the fan art contest for Magic Cop. So we hired him. He did a story on our second book, The Lost Pages, and we wanted to see him take on some Magic Cop stuff too.
Oh, very cool.
We got a question. North Freeze asking, is this a mini-series, Phil? 3 or 4 issues, or is this a continually running one?
So we put them out as like trade paperbacks. So it's 4 issues in a trade. So this is 92 pages. You're going to get a full story here. It has a beginning, middle, and end, but the series is going to, there's room for other books. Just like with the first one, it was the same deal. The story ended. So it's basically like if you're watching a 2-part episode of a TV show in this thing.
Ah, cool.
And Brian's throwing you a nice compliment, going overboard with the swag and extras. That's really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Brian's awesome, dude. This is actually the reprint cover. So if you guys missed out on the first book, Kelsey Shannon did this awesome like alternate cover for the first book. It's going to be on the campaign as well. So I can't wait to see those printed because Kelsey just killed it with that.
Yeah, that came out really, really nice. He's a great guy. I mean, I've always liked Kelsey's stuff. So
Yeah, that is cool.
yeah.
A lot of fun stuff.
How do you fit? Because you said, you've got your regular job.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fit all this in, man? How do you guys fit all this in?
So I stay up really late.
I was just saying it's because you're young.
Yeah.
Well, I know that because I get up in the morning and I'll pop into the green room and I'll be like, man, look at all these guys going back and forth at 1 and 2 a.m. and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
do
I
that.
stay up till like 4 now. Like right now I'm in the lettering stage because I letter my own stuff. So I'm lettering Magic Cop 2 right now. So I was up really late. I was hanging out with Shane and stuff and after his show. And I'll just stay up, letter, and, or write, depending on what thing I'm in, which process I'm in. And, but right now I'm lettering. And, people are like, and my girlfriend's like, oh, you stay up so late, But I'm like, yeah, I'll sleep when I'm 60. That's fine. I want to get the stuff out to the backers.
No, man, I hear you. I had late night. Yeah. Shane and Ethan, actually Shane, I don't think is close to my age. Ethan's closer to my age. And I'm just like, see his hours. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know how you do it, brother.
I think he needs
that dude I wasn't joking. I usually hit it around 10:30 every night because I get up at about 6:30 every morning. So
he takes his Geritol, his Z-Quil, and he's done for the night.
I am. I don't need Z-Quil, man. This head hits the pillow and I just pass out. So I don't need any of that stuff. What is this thing? This looks cool.
So this is a little add-on. So there's a creator out there. He goes by Blockheads on Twitter. And he makes these, what he calls blockheads. They're like little paper foldable characters.
Yeah, as I say, it looks like the cardboard thing. You get it flat, then you have to fold it together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we had him do the Headless Hitman, and this is the first headless blockhead.
Nice.
So he killed it, man. He knocked it out of the park there. So I'm like, we got to do this because it's something special. So every backer is going to get one of these free in their package. So they could put it together, display it. We do them with all of our campaigns. We did Magic Cop for the first one. We did the Silhouette for our second book with the Lost Pages. And yes, and if you scroll up, there's also some trading cards. These right here are trading cards that everybody's going to get free as well. So you got Preston Acevedo with the painted trading card of Arsenic Jones. He's got all those magic wands stuck in his back, juicing him up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And EJ Morges did the other one, which is, obviously awesome, kind of realistic style. Don Johnson-esque. Yeah, EJ's great.
Yeah, those are both really cool.
It's funny. Michael said the same thing I was thinking. I'm like, it looks like the robot from Futurama.
The devil.
So when that's flat before it's put together, does it fit right inside the Gemini mailer and stuff? I assume.
Yeah. So the bot, we don't use Geminis. We use they called Z-Line or something.
Are they like the same size or whatever?
Yeah, it's like we were folding them at first, but now we realized that we could just put them right behind the book and it just fits perfectly.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we got some swag add-ons. We're doing shirts for the first time and that Magic Cup too. I forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll go back
up to the top. Yeah, there's a cool GIF. This is something new we're trying. I love crowdfunding because you could experiment so much with stuff. Even though we had these made a few months ago just to have them ready. So there's a specific number that we have. Like you could just experiment with cool perks, and if no one buys them, then you don't have to make them. But the cup is something we really wanted to do because we're not seeing it a lot. It's new, and this is like 32-ounce stadium cup. I don't have one in my room right now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like the old, stadium cup. It's like the Slurpee cups from 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
stuff like that.
The Moose cups.
Yeah, this is the art on here is drawn by Alan Alonso, who's doing the ash can, and it's kind of like this awesome mural of the good guys versus the bad guys. If you guys do back the perks on the campaign that have the ash can in it, it comes with a fold-out poster of this mural.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you guys definitely do it right. with
Thanks, man.
the perks and all that stuff for sure. Man, I was gonna, damn it. There's something else I was gonna ask you, and Dennis knows how flaky my brain is, so that's just how it
I
rolls.
understand.
I'll get back. We'll just look at that for a while.
Squirrel.
So, well, just getting back to your history and stuff. So, I assume your brother was always the one that liked to draw and stuff, like most of us guys that draw and push the pencil around.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always wanted to draw, but I was always super hard on myself and never thought I would be able to and stuff. So I just stuck to the stories, and yeah, he actually does a lot of graphic design for our work, and he'll redo side art for arcade cabinets and marquees and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So he uses that in the actual job. And yeah, he's, this is working with him is awesome. He's very creative himself. So a lot of the ideas, even with our book, The Lost Pages, we've been developing those characters for years. So him and I. So he's also a creator on that as well.
And my brain just caught up with me. This would look really cool, as I'm sure you've probably heard this before, but even the style that's already set with your brother's art and everything would just work great as, an Adult Swim type, Netflix type cartoon.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are trying to pursue that or whatnot, but
I don't know. I don't even know how I would.
That's what if I knew how, I would tell you, but I literally have no idea when it comes to that stuff either. So
everyone always says that. And it's, a scary thought to give your thing to a production company to make it into another medium, right? Especially with all of the stuff going on now where they're changing all of these IPs. But it would be cool to see any of our stuff animated.
I kind of wonder what a 3 to 5 minute short would cost.
Yeah.
Because the part I do know, and I mean, you probably know guys that do this. I know guys that do storyboards, for a living that, work on a lot of the stuff. A friend of mine just got done doing Invincible.
Awesome.
He was a board artist on Invincible. So, I mean, I know storyboard guys, but yeah, it just comes down to maybe trying to research what it would take to do a 5 minute cartoon, and then that could even be a digital perk.
Yeah,
for the next one.
There's an awesome creator. His name's Joseph King, and he comes from animation background and stuff. I think he's worked on some either Adult Swim or Cartoon Network stuff. He did this book called Slaughter Squad. And his trailer, he fully animated himself, and it was like a cartoon. It was awesome.
Oh wow!
And it's really cool. It's like this badass bull, but he's like Rambo, and he has like a team of animals that are taking down the meat industry. That are trying to kill him and stuff. It's hilarious. It's a really funny book.
Well, that goes to a different style of animation that you could look at too. Now this is way before your time, but Dennis, what was it? Was it late 60s when Marvel did the animation where it was literally like comic panels and it was just very subtle movements? You could tell they were just like.
Are you thinking like the original Spider-Man or before that?
Oh, Iron Man.
Yeah.
Had one. Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know it was like almost like a still panel, and then they would move across, and then it would be like Batman would go bam for. Yeah.
I mean, something like that would probably even work. Well, I think the best modern day version of that is like South Park. You could see something, I could see something like this because the style having that retro vibe. You could almost see something like this in a South Park type animation style with the movement of the characters.
Yeah.
Toys too. I'm sure you guys have probably looking into that.
Yeah, North Free's asking if you're looking at toys, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. Even more than toys, I'm a huge statue collector, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Like we were just talking about that before we went live.
Sure.
Like I collect everything I love. I have 8 different Lobo statues.
Sure.
And seeing Ethan, and even that Cecil statue that guy was putting together.
Dude, that Cecil statue was insane.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that going, oh my God, that is awesome.
But I mean, yeah, if we ever got to that point of, pulling in backers numbers like Cecil and stuff, dude, I'd be all over that. Like, I have the characters from my Lost Pages book, like this guy here. He's this big purple guy. His name's Krim, and he's the imaginary friend of this girl on his shoulders, and he's like this, big cross between the Max and Lobo, and he's a big badass that rips people to shreds. I would want to do a bust of him,
Oh yeah, well we can look at Lost Pages too if you want. This is this is your hour, my friend. So
thank you, brother. Yeah, this
whatever
is
you want to look at
as well. So this campaign is still on demand.
Yeah,
everything's been shipped out. So if anyone backs a book, we pack it up and ship it out the next day.
Oh, very cool.
So we're kind of using it as a store. So yeah, that's Simon Bisley did that cover. That's
awesome. Now, did Biz color this as well, or did somebody else?
No, he has a buddy. His name is Adam Brown. He does colors for Glenn Fabry and Simon Bisley.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Great colors, man. And it looks like Biz did it.
That's why I asked, because when you first showed it before we went live, I couldn't tell because it was small. I couldn't tell if it was Biz doing full painting or ink and color. And that's why I asked just now, because once I saw it was inked, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Biz colored it as well, because it has his palette. So
yeah, it is. It's so cool. So, these are like, Magic Cop was the jumping off point. It got us, known. It got us some fans. I made a bunch of friends with creators. And without that, I wouldn't have been able to put this book together, because this book is basically 4 separate stories that weave into each other. And each of the stories is drawn by a different artist.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, this is the silhouette. I mean, I showed you guys what the silhouette looked like before in 2012, but this is what he looks like now, fully illustrated, black and white.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He's like our supernatural vigilante. He's awesome. And currently I'm working on writing the sequel to this, and it's going to be focusing on this character.
Oh, that's cool.
There he is.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Do you guys plan on making it to any conventions this season now that the country looks like it's kind of opening back up?
Yeah, we would love to. Like, we were super excited about doing that and, hanging out with some of our buddies and stuff. I know, I think Patrick Thomas Parnell's doing MegaCon in Orlando. Malin said he might go down to that.
We're going down.
Oh, yeah?
We're planning on it.
Yep, I got a table and stuff, so.
Nice, yeah. I'd love to look into that and, talk to my brother about maybe doing that and seeing how many people are going to go. Because I know there's a lot of fans just in Florida that have bought the book. In fact, one of my buddies, Luke, he works at a comic shop, and he said one of his regulars brought in the Lost Pages because he bought 2 and he put one up to sell at the shop, and someone bought it like a few weeks later. I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, that's really cool.
Someone bought the book from the shop. Yeah, here's Crimstone, who's kind of our 90s bombastic character with a little twist. Like I said, the chick here, her imaginary friend from childhood has now grown up into this monstrous, badass fighter, and comes back into her life, and they become crime fighters. If you go on to the next page, you'll see a big
there we go.
shot. Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
So fun. So I would love a statue of this character. He's just
hell yeah.
North Freeze, like, we'll be getting Lost Pages. Love the art and artwork, and bid on some of the pieces on YouTube. Art auctions lost.
Thank you, North. I appreciate that. And then this one's another one of my favorites, The Masquerade. So this is by Alan Alonso, the artist that's doing the Magic Cop Ashcan. And if you guys love pulp characters,
yes,
I do.
I was going to say that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I love the Shadow, the Phantom, Green Hornet. So this is an ode to them. And The Masquerade is set in the 1930s in Chicago. And he's a master of disguise. And he speaks only in Shakespearean talk, iambic pentameter, to like mess with his enemies.
Nice.
Boy, that'd be a pain to write.
I love it. It's so fun. I'm a huge Etrigan fan. So, and Etrigan the Demon would rhyme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I people that write the Demon, I just think, man, that is not my wheelhouse. I like reading it, but man, that is just not my writing wheelhouse.
Oh, dude, I love it. It's so fun. Yeah, this campaign was an awesome success thanks to the backers. So much so when we added new stretch goals, we actually added more stories to the supplemental book. We did like a bonus comic.
Oh, sweet.
Introduced new characters. We did like 4-page short stories. And so we were able to hire even more artists, and just it was a big undertaking, but it was a lot of fun working with everybody.
Yeah. I see Magic Cop 2 you got down for July. Are you guys on track for that?
Yep. Yeah. My brother is on like page 73. It's going to be like I said, 92 pages. So 73. I'm lettering now. So we're going to be shipping out in July and hopefully launching the next Lost Pages in August.
Oh, that was my next question. So after Magic Cop, it's going to be another Lost Pages, and then will you go back to Magic Cop again?
Yeah, well,
that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we love switching it off because it kind of gives our artists time to get stuff done, right? Because the plan is to eventually be able to have the book done before we launch it, so we could show as much as we can.
Sure.
To let the backers know that we mean business. We're going to be putting this thing out. It's going to come out on time, and we might do a few Lost Pages in a row after this because I want to focus on those characters. Like the next one, like I said, is going to focus on the silhouette, but it's going to have cameos from some of the characters that people know from the book.
Oh, that's
well, yeah, because you do longer lead story, and then the rest are shorter page counts. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, this was like an interesting experiment where we took our characters from the universe and wanted to introduce them all at once. Yeah. And what we were able to do after that is we did a poll for all the backers and asked which characters were your favorites. So from there, like I think for the main book, Silhouette was everyone's favorite, and then Crimstone. So those characters are going to be in the next book, Silhouette, focusing on him.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Let's kick back over to here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
I mean, being, knowing all these artists, being introduced to the community and having the success for Magic Cop 1 and the Lost Pages, it's just been so cool because before, when I was trying to do this stuff without a community like this, I couldn't find artists that were reliable, that were hungry, that wanted to work on stuff. I've paid people for pages that I never got.
Oh.
I was, 20 years old or whatever doing that and been just like face palming because this is what I want to do. I want to get these stories out. I've had them for so long, but it's all working out now. It's really cool. It's long nights staying up, but it's lots of fun. And I love the YouTube community coming on shows and meeting new people and, talking to guys like you that have been in the industry for so long, Shane and Dan Frega helping me out all the time, giving me great advice. It's been awesome. And in fact, because of putting books out and stuff, and I guess, people are digging the stuff I'm putting out. John Malin actually hired me to write a graveyard shift story for him.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Great.
Super cool. So that's all written up, and we're going to be working with an artist soon to pump that out. And hopefully sometime, I don't know, next year or maybe later, whenever he launches another graveyard shift campaign, that'll be in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tons of action in that, and it was so fun because it's a different pace than writing your own characters, right? You're ingesting some stuff that other people have created, and you get to play in that sandbox. And it was a blast. And he was editing also. You worked kind of like as an editor on it, and getting notes from him and being like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. It was really cool working with him, him being an editor. So I'm so stoked to see that one come to life with some art. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's
awesome. Really cool. And you know, I do. Oh wait, here we go.
Phil, do you and your brother ever get tired of working with one another? Hey, that's a good question.
There's moments where
when you have a conflict, do you arm wrestle it out? I think that's the question. Or do you just thumb wrestle?
No,
because there's nothing wrong with thumb wrestling.
We'll try to reason and, you know, bring up points and stuff why if something works better one way or another. But it never gets old because we're so similar and we've been around each other all the time. Like, I think there's a theory that I have where the longer you're around someone, you'll know what they're thinking when certain situations come up, and you'll be thinking the same thing. Like, that happens all the time, you know, with him and I. And I think that's like being around in the vicinity of someone in different situations. So he's great to work with. And
well, you know, it's funny because Dennis and I are around each other so much that he'll come over during football season and I'll be thinking the Packers suck. And then he'll be like, the Packers suck. And I'm like, there you go, Dennis.
And yet they make it to the championship game. And where are the Cowboys? Yeah, they losing to the Washington no-name Redskins.
All right, Dennis. Words hurt. Words hurt, Dennis. Words hurt.
But no, I mean, just like tomorrow night, we're going to go see a movie, the new Spiral. You know, Spiral comes out tomorrow. And, you know, and so we're going to do a thing on, you know, the continuation of the Saw myth. I already know what Andy's going to think of it.
I'm going to love it because I love all those Saw movies.
Yeah.
Are you a movie guy, Phil? Movie buff?
Yeah, for sure. I love movies. Yeah.
What genre the most? Or
man, I'm all over the place. Like, my favorite movie of all time is Tombstone.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow, Tombstone's good, man. That's
love
a good
Tombstone.
one.
But it's weird because, you know, you get like the nostalgia of being a kid. So like it goes like Tombstone, and then number 2 is like The Mask. Because I love Jim Carrey and I love The Mask. And then The Mask comics are so amazing. Like,
yes, those were the bomb.
Yeah, dude. And I met Doug right before the pandemic at C2E2, and he did this for me. Check this out.
Oh, I gotta see. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, Doug is great, man.
Yeah, and he
is one of my favorite artists. Like, I follow. You know, Dennis knows I'm an art guy, obviously, so I buy stuff more for the art. And whatever Doug draws, I buy it. He could do one issue of something, and I'm like, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit what the story is.
Yeah, he's so cool, and he's like, man, I haven't drawn The Mask in forever. He's like, thanks for letting me do this. So yeah, I love the Mask movie. I mean, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, classic. Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah, Gene Wilder, yeah.
Awesome. Once Upon a Time in the West. I think that one is amazing. You know, that's so good. But yeah, I love all kinds of different movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much how. I mean, I'm all over the place like that. Like the stuff that I don't usually go see is Conjuring, and because when I was a kid, The Exorcist just totally freaked the shit out of me.
See, and I love that.
And I still won't watch it to this day. And so stuff like The Conjuring and stuff, I usually stay away from, and like Annabelle, because it'll just freak me out still.
Yeah.
But shit like Saw, oh, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, part of it's because I love it's like magic. I actually like to see how magic tricks are done.
Yeah.
So when it comes to movies like Saw, I've seen enough of special effects that when I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking more about how that special effect was done than how gross it is.
Yeah. So like Now You See It. You love the Now You See It movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to ask a question since we got so many viewers on.
Mhm.
We had a long. I'm a sci-fi guy, right? And everything,
Oh,
actually, fantasy, sci-fi, all this. So we got talking about this movie. Jennifer Connelly came up yesterday, and we were all talking, and they listed her iconic movies. You would have thought Labyrinth, but no, that wasn't one of them. It was Dark City and Career Opportunities, and Dark City is the one. All of a sudden, I started mentioning it. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's one of the greatest sci-fi movies." It's like right up there with Blade Runner and The Matrix for changing it. I had never even heard of the movie, and so many people I've talked to have never heard of it.
No,
I just
I never.
didn't know. Have you guys ever heard of Dark City?
No.
Yeah, and before you came on, Dennis and I were talking. I had IMDb up. It came out in '98, and I've been steadily going to movies pretty much since since I was a kid, but as an adult, early '90s and stuff. And I'm like, I've never heard of that movie.
I just ordered the director's cut because there's obviously a director's cut out for it. But how am I a sci-fi guy and I've never heard of it? And it's a pinnacle one.
Ooh.
See?
Oh, look, good in this too.
He says Dark City is dope. Never heard of it. Now Dennis bought it, like he said, so I'll have to come over and watch it.
Yeah,
but I tell you what, Phil, we saw it last week. Oh my God! Now I'm blanking on the name.
What's
Dennis,
the movie?
what was the
Dennis
movie we were talking about last week that we saw that we loved?
Nobody.
Nobody. That was it. Nobody.
Oh yeah, that's the new one. I heard that.
Dude, it is so freaking good.
Really?
Especially seeing that actor in a tough guy role like that. Holy shit.
It is John Wick with more humor with an actual family. It was so entertaining. I couldn't believe how good it was. I mean, it's probably one of the best movies I've seen in the last couple of years. Maybe because I had low expectations, but shit, it blew right out of the water.
It is a tight hour and 33 minutes. They trimmed off. I'd love to see what they left on the cutting room floor because there wasn't a part of the movie you were like, cut that. Lose that. It's tight. It's got a good story. Odenkirk was fantastic in it, especially playing that role because you never see, Better Call Saul,
Yeah.
is what he's known for. But playing a tough guy, and they set it up for a sequel. It is so good.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Apparently, it boomed at the box office and it just got released at the right time. Didn't last long at the theater. So quite a few have heard of it. So, all right, viewing party coming up soon.
It's going to have to.
I just watched a movie that I've been watching a lot of Cyberpunk movies right now because I'm working on a Cyberpunk project for the future, or a Cyberpunk comic for maybe like next year. And so I've been watching like anime Cyberpunk stuff, which I've never really watched anime before because I thought it was stupid. And it probably still is, but there's good Cyberpunk stuff in there. And then I watched the Alita film. And
so what did you think, by the way, since we just had somebody ask, Kat's asking, Conley was in Alita, terrible movie. Please discuss.
See, I didn't think it was that terrible. I had to get past. It was just so hard for me to get past the enlarged eyes on her. That was just. It was so weird looking because I'm like, everything is real life.
I have to watch the anime, so because I've seen some clips from the anime, and the father looks so much cooler in the anime than that junior guy or whatever. But the designs in the movie are really cool. Like the designs of the bad guys. Yeah, they're super cool. And the action is good. It's just some of the story stuff, like with the boyfriend thing and him him getting his body, ripped up and he falls off of that thing. It's just he's just a head. That was weird. But the action's cool. I thought, the growth of the character was cool. It was a good world building. They obviously were leaving off for a sequel of how the hell this movie ended. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but
I doubt it. I mean, every movie.
I think it fell short. I there were things that I like. See, I'm a Cyberpunk fan. We used to do the role playing game and awesome. all that stuff, Netrunner, all that kind of stuff. Cyberpunk's really cool, and this had elements of it in it. Mm-hmm. You know, just like Johnny Mnemonic, you know, where you've got memory and stuff, and of course,
I gotta watch that.
My phone now has like 1,000 times the amount of memory that Johnny Mnemonic did, but you know, just a sign of the times. But Alita, it just fell short on some of the story. I like the characters. I agree with you. The designs of the characters, that was awesome. I even did love the hammer with the jet, you know, coming in there to speed it up. There were some pretty interesting, well thought out things. It just didn't gel like it should have. And I think they were missing some of the plot points along the way. I didn't think it was a horrible movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was all right. I wish they would have done more. The comics were better, the anime.
Yeah, I have to watch the anime.
Yeah.
Did you watch the live action Ghost in the Shell?
No,
with Scarlett Johansson.
I watched the anime. I didn't watch the live action one yet. Should I watch it?
I've watched the anime before, but you know, did you go to that one, Dennis? Did you see the live action Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson?
No, I got really worried I was going to hate it, and then I would stop all the other crap. It's like Green Lantern. I didn't want to ruin it by seeing a terrible movie.
You son of a bitch. He does that on purpose because he knows Green Lantern's like my favorite DC guy, and Ryan Reynolds is one of my favorite actors. So it's hard for me to diss on that movie, even though it was a bad movie.
Bubblegum Crisis and 80 Police is two you need to watch for Cyberpunk stuff. So,
yeah, that's been suggested to me, so I'm gonna have to watch them.
I've watched Bubblegum Crisis, but it was probably 20 years ago. It was so long ago.
So how was the Ghost in the Shell film?
It was just okay. You know, in fact, I now remember it was my daughter and I that went, and you know, she was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago? She's a teenager. She loved it. It was just okay. I mean, I get why they cast Scarlett Johansson because she's so popular and stuff, but talk about, you know, cast an Asian actress. You know what I mean? It was just okay. It was eye candy. You know, visually it was really good. Story-wise, I'd probably take Alita over it.
Yeah.
Live action wise.
It's like Death Note. You know, they kept saying, "Oh, watch Death Note, watch Death Note." So I watched the movie and I'm like, this is the worst damn movie I've seen in a long time. And they're like, you're supposed to watch the anime, duh. And I'm like, okay. So I learned my lesson the hard way.
Yeah.
Never watch the movie, live action movie versions. Like The Last Airbender. Why would you do that to yourself?
Never watched it. Never watched it.
The series is good though.
Series is great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what was that series that you made me watch, or you told me to watch that I hated, Dennis, on Netflix?
I can't believe I told you anything that you'd hate.
Well, yeah, you do. Well, come on. We were. It was the people that turned into monsters.
Oh.
I just want to see if Phil knows what it is.
People who turn Animorphs.
No.
Remember Animorphs?
See, you can't even remember it.
What is the name of it? I'll think of it. It's Korean.
Yeah, it's Korean, and it was instead of the zombie genre. Huh?
They turned into monsters. I can't think of the name. Oh my God, I am dying here. We even did a whole review on it.
I know. See, and you bagged on me for saying it was awful, and now you don't even remember the name of it. And there's supposedly going to be a second season.
Yeah, that's because I'm thinking Train to Busan, which was great.
Yeah, Train to Busan was good. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my God! Now that's a good Korean zombie movie. Train to Busan. If you like zombie stuff.
It is.
Yeah. If you like zombie stuff.
Nope.
What is she saying?
We'll get some laughs out of it. All right.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson was a dead fish in that movie, North Free says. Yeah, pretty much. I think she was just collecting a paycheck. So
that's too bad.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I watched Cyber City Oito. It was like an anime from the 80s. Really good. I really like that. It's a cyberpunk stuff. So
Oh, that's cool.
I'm having a lot of fun doing different genres and diving into cyberpunk right now, just kind of absorbing everything I can. And I have like a Google Docs that's just all this notes and stuff on the story and character design. So I'm going to take some time to develop that because really I get obsessed with things like story elements or genre. And I've been like that all my life. Like you could ask like anyone in my family, I could say it would be my flavor of the month thing where it's like, hey, this month I'm obsessed with Mr. T, and I have a Mr. T license plate on my bicycle, and I wish I was Mr. T. So there's like, I'll do that with characters too, like Gambit and all these things. So when I latch onto something that I like, I'll usually deep dive into it for a few months, and I like that I can do that with writing as well.
Do you find it when you're at work at your regular job, it's hard to turn off that stuff because you can't just, well, I mean, you can take notes on your phone and stuff.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're there,
the
and
best
you're
thing
like,
about that is because I work in the same office as my brother, just us two. Like
okay.
he's right behind me, so I could shoot ideas off of him or be like, hey, would this work in a story or something? And we're doing like stuff on computers, like where I do a lot of video editing and minimal animation and stuff like that, graphic
cool.
work. So like we could
You're
just
in front of a computer anyhow,
yeah.
so you can just pop.
So we could play
open it
music
down.
and
yeah,
like I'm always thinking about that stuff too. So
that's cool. Is that a Monday through Friday gig, or are you on weekends at that joint too?
yeah, I'm so some people left the like working because of the pandemic, so I had to take up some shifts like actually manning the arcade. So
right.
I was working like Fridays and Sundays, but right now I'm back in the offices because people came back. So
that's good.
I'm at the arcade like once a week now.
How long did they? How long was it? I assume they shut down for a certain period of time throughout.
Yeah, we shut the arcade down for maybe like 3 months. When it was at the height, like last summer, but we tried to open up as quickly as possible so we could keep the place around. But,
oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Damn. Well, I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah.
Well, very cool, man. Well, I'm glad you came on and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really look at the before and after of the campaign, so I unfortunately don't know if it went up at all.
Well, I know a couple people posted that they were definitely picking stuff up. One of them's upset because they're going to be blowing their whole next paycheck, they said.
I appreciate it. Like this, every backer counts, man. It allows us to create more books, for the next book we're doing. And we just roll it into making this stuff because I love doing this. I love writing and creating characters, and if fans are out there that have YouTube channels, definitely do reviews. I love seeing reviews of my stuff so I can know what people like, what people don't like, so we could always try to improve what we're doing. But yeah, we just passed 24,000 this morning with Magic Cop 2. And we're, keep going up and up. And I can't wait to get this book out to everybody because it's just going to be a ton of fun. And thanks for having me on, man. It's been a blast.
No, I'm glad you came on. Like I said, I like to be able to meet the other creators and stuff, the CG, and talk to them and stuff. Yeah. It's such a great, it's a great community. It's very welcoming. And even, I've been doing this for 30 years, but when it comes to the crowdfunding, I haven't. And I've learned a lot from other people and looking at other people's campaigns to kind of dissect it and go, oh, that's cool. And you just kind of, take little pieces of things and go, oh, I like what they did here. And, even graphics and stuff. Because some people just do bare bones with no graphics. They show pages and stuff. But, then you've got campaigns like yours that has the cup that's spinning and stuff, with some animation and stuff. So it's very cool, and I tell everybody it's a welcoming community, and
Yeah.
you can learn from everybody. It doesn't matter if it's somebody like me that's been doing it forever, or somebody relatively new to the game like you guys. There's always something to learn and a different point of view that you can try and pick from and gain from, and that's what I think is really cool. So
yeah. When I've mentioned this a few times, when Andy first said, hey, kind of brought up Comicsgate and stuff, and what have you heard, and kind of go check it out. And, all I heard was a few negative things from a couple of people. And as I started getting into it, the more I started looking at it, I didn't see any hate. Matter of fact, I saw individual creators. Didn't matter if you were writing or an artist or an inker. Everybody had positive things to say. It was about forwarding the industry and making content that they were proud of and that they wanted to, other fans to be happy with, versus trying to push out agendas. And I was like, this was a great community. And I'm like, I don't see all of this garbage that a lot of people are sitting there talking about. So no, I actually think I see more and more people hopping on the community, and there's a reason for it. You guys are all collectively putting out great stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's so welcoming. Like last night on Michael Bancroft's show, who's an awesome streamer from Australia, does a show every night. He did a show with a young lady. Her name is Irene, and she was actually a fill-in artist at Marvel, and they put her on books like Silk and Gwenpool. And she was there for, I think, like 3 years, but they wouldn't let her go anywhere. They were kind of pigeonholing her in this position because she is a female artist, and they would only put her on female or YA stuff. But she loves drawing monsters. She draws awesome monsters. She has this book out right now. I think it's called Fiendish. And she's like, yeah, I was there and wasn't getting really going anywhere. And so I left and did this stuff on my own. And she is new to all of this and was welcomed with open arms. She got a bunch of backers on the show. She passed $10,000 on her book. And,
sweet.
They actually went over the Wikipedia page for Comicsgate, showing that we're a, CG is a hate group that specifically targets women. And she was laughing about it because she's like, I haven't felt anything like that. Everybody's been so cool and supportive with my book and everything. And it was really cool to see someone new coming in that did work in the industry, that was a female and being successful on a stream like that.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. When it comes to that stupid Wikipedia page, I'm sure somebody said this before, why doesn't somebody just go in and change it? Because it's open. Yeah. Anybody can edit that stuff, can't they?
Yeah, you can ask to edit, you can put it in there, but it has to get approved. Yeah. And what a lot of people are finding out is they won't make the changes if it doesn't fit a certain criteria.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Live and learn. I never go on Wikipedia, so rarely, I should say. Sometimes I'll Google a person and be like, oh, what's their Wikipedia say? But usually I don't go on it. So, well, there you go. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Phil, once again for joining and stuff. I hope, the campaign keeps growing and the future ones do as well, and we'll definitely obviously stay in touch. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was nice meeting you, Phil. That was it's our first time meeting, so I think that's fantastic. I love meeting new people. While everybody's out there, Wednesday's show is, of course, we're going to be talking. We just talked about it, the movie. We're going to be talking a little bit Spiral. We've got new comic book day, so we're going to be listing our comic books and all the cool stuff. I read Silver City, and I've had a bunch of people from my Quick Flip wanting to do it. So I think we're going to talk a little Silver City and do a review on that, because it's definitely an interesting concept. And if everybody wants, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you know when we get it. So we appreciate it, and we love talking to you guys.
Yep, and check out, Phil, what's your channel? Is it just your name? What's your channel?
It is Zaid Comics. So it's
Comics.
My last name spelled backwards, ZAID Comics. That's our company, and we're actually going to be streaming in an hour on my channel doing like our weekly hangout Monday nights. So
Oh, cool.
All right, guys. Everybody, thank you again for joining, and we will catch you guys on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.